Perspective on Florida Gateway College Television is sponsored by Potash Corp of White Springs. Potash Corp, helping nature provide.
Hello everyone and welcome to Perspective. This is a public affairs presentation of Florida Gateway College. My name is Mike McKee and my guest on the program represent something that's happening April 9th here in Columbia County, the Alligator Spring Festival at Alligator Lake. We have Jackie Sulick and John Middleton Jr. They both represent the Four Rivers Audubon Society here. We're going to talk about the festival, what you can expect, and why you should go. We'll do that when we come back. Don't go away.
I rescued Toast from a shelter in 2011. I love Toast because she's a lazy diva. Toast does whatever she wants, obviously. She's sleeping right now. She's an epic snuggler. She's so comforting. She's so loving. Toast makes me laugh. When I walked into the shelter, I knew right then that she was special.
Welcome back to Perspective here on Florida Gateway College Television. I'm Mike McKee, and Alligator Lake Spring Festival is happening on April the 9th at Alligator Lake. To talk about the festival is John Middleton Jr. and Jackie Sulick, who all are part of the Four Rivers Audubon Society. Welcome to the program.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Jackie, you've been a part of this festival since the beginning of the festival. How long ago did the festival start, and what was the thought process behind having this festival at Alligator Lake?
Well, this is our 7th annual festival, and it started out, we just wanted to do something for the community to showcase this beautiful lake. We also realized that Alligator Lake is the headwaters of the Ichetucknee, and a really great focus for folks to learn about how important our water is. It's also a site on the Great Florida Birding Trail, and we've come to realize how economically beneficial bird watching is. It's the second fastest growing hobby in the United States. So,
you know, nobody is not touched by seeing a bird and going, well, what was that? Or seeing something fly by that you don't recognize, like a woodpecker, and how you see some red in the woodpecker and you're like, I wonder what kind of woodpecker that was. But John, you've kind of been dedicated in your photography, your volunteer amateur photography, to taking pictures of birds.
Yes, I've actually started as a college student playing with wildlife photography, and since I've retired, find that bird photography, especially wildlife photography in general, is really rewarding, and both spiritually and mentally, as well as a little bit of physical exercise.
You know, I do a lot of photography work for the college, and it's mostly of people. And trying to get people to do things, it's not really that hard. You can say, look this way, smile, put your head up. With photography of birds, that's got to be a challenge. Talk about getting that one great shot.
Well, getting that one great shot means that you've spent a lot of time, exercised patience, which is a virtue, not one of mine, but is a virtue. And probably 1 in 100 will be a usable, publishable quality photograph. You can't direct them to get in the correct light. You can't ask them to get where the background's going to be right. You can plan and prepare so that you expect those things to be right, but it's a lot of work and a lot of trial and error.
Now, in this day of digital photography, it's got to be a little bit easier because you're not wasting a lot of film. Because in the old days, and a lot of young people, and I'll point at Ethan here behind the camera and say, in the old days, you took a picture on film and you didn't know whether you had a good shot or not until you sent it off to be processed.
Absolutely. As I said earlier, I started in college, and film was expensive and processing was expensive. So you were very, very cautious with every click of the shutter. And now, of course, to capture birds or insects in flight, you can have continuous shutter release, and who cares if you do 100 exposures? There is no expense per exposure. So it does open up a lot of opportunities. There are prices to be paid, even with advanced technology today. Camera sensors don't have quite the dynamic range that film had, so getting the proper exposure requires some calculation and effort.
Well, let's take a look at some. You sent us some photographs, and we're going to list your websites where people can look at more. That's a tiny bird.
That's a little tiny, this is a ruby-crowned kinglet. A great example of how birds don't always cooperate, because I would never put a human with that confused background and with the shadows on it.
But that's probably the best shot of that bird that you could possibly have.
Well, there are better out there. That's the best one I have.
Oh, okay. The one picture
I selected this one for you because you could see a hint of that ruby crown that the male displays
now,
from time to time.
I thought this was a titmouse because I have a bird feeder in the backyard, and this kind of looks like it. What kind of bird is this?
This is a blue-gray gnatcatcher. They are year-round residents here. One of our smaller birds, very, very active birds.
Now, their name is gnatcatcher.
Yes.
Is that because they catch gnats?
They feed on small insects, yes.
Well, I would like to have several of those in my yard.
You may.
So this bird all the birds that you're going to see here that John has photographs of, you can actually see on the birding trail at the Alligator Lake Park.
Absolutely.
And I guess this was taken during the festival last year?
No, this was actually taken on one of our monthly alley walks on the first Saturday of each month from September through May. We have a bird walk called an alley walk at Alligator Lake Park. And these are actually members of the Branford Camera Club who joined us. Several of the photographers join us each month. And as you can see, one of the little subjects is cooperating. It's a great location for bird photography because of the dikes. And
yeah, you can
walk
everywhere.
Well, it gives you the opportunity to get really close to your subject.
Wow, this is a pretty bird.
Yeah, this is a hermit thrush. After our walk officially ended, Jackie and myself and a couple of other members of the group, our leader Jerry Crumrick, we took a sidewalk, and this little bird sat there on the limb, allowed me to approach, and was really very cooperative. One of the winter residents, they'll be leaving here shortly.
Where do they go?
North.
North. So they hang out up north, and
Jackie may have a better idea of their home range.
They go to the boreal forests. They'll be nesting up north.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what are these?
These are American white pelicans. We are fortunate that at Alligator Lake Park and many larger bodies of water throughout the state of Florida, white pelicans winter. It's hard to see in this particular photograph, but some of them already have even begun to develop the hump on the bill that indicates they're getting in breeding condition. They'll be here quite late in the spring. There's no need for them to go back until food is available in their home waters.
These birds are huge. They have a 9-foot wingspan.
Wow.
And we had 600 of them at Alligator Lake this winter.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty amazing birds.
Yeah, the only North American bird with a larger wingspan is the California condor.
Oh, wow.
We talked about learning about birds, and going on a walk with experienced birders is the single best way to learn birds.
Is that Jerry?
That's Jerry. He leads our alley walks. He's helping one of our participants identify a bird in this photo.
Now, anybody can come to this on the Saturday?
Anybody is welcome. Absolutely.
But it would be good for folks to come on April 9th to see the setup and, oh wow, look at this. Now
that's an osprey.
That is a great shot.
We do have ospreys at Alligator Lake. We saw an osprey at our walk this last Saturday.
And they normally are by the coast. They like to hang out on the coastline, do they not?
Well, they're certainly common along coastal areas, but they're along all of the larger freshwater bodies. As long as the body of water is large enough to have a fish supply, you're going to find ospreys.
And you see, if you go to the Alligator Lake Spring Festival, you'll be able to ask these questions of John. This is another great shot.
Yeah, this is a common yellowthroat. We can tell it's a male by the black mask. They're beautiful little birds. Again, they're year-round residents here. They feed primarily on insects. You will see them on shrubby edges and edges of the marshlands. This, again, is from Alligator Lake Park.
All right. Again, all the birds that you see here, you can see at Alligator Lake. You're not going to be guaranteed you're going to see it. You just may get lucky.
Right.
Be there at the right. I mean, birds tend to be in certain areas during certain times of the day, correct?
Yeah, and that's true. And birds one day may be really cooperative, and the next day everyone seems to be in hiding. So we can't predict which species we might see. Any bird might be seen almost any time.
And this is one of your Saturday outings, or is this from the festival?
This is one of the Saturday alley walks.
You know,
So,
I
go
want to
ahead.
say something about that last picture, that little Parula warbler. They're just arriving from Central America. They'll nest here during the summer.
Oh, okay.
So they're our little winter visitors. Pretty neat little bird.
And this is not a bird, but this is a great shot.
Yeah, the flower is buttonbush cephalanthus. They're very common in moist areas, and we will see them on our walks at the festival. One of our native bumblebees here is approaching for nectar and pollen. And this is one of the types of photography we'll talk about on the photography walk at the park.
So you're inviting people that they may think they have a knack for photography, that get some pointers and learn what outdoor and nature photography is all about.
Yeah, my hope is it'll be a mutual learning experience. I've found usually on these walks there is someone who's a better naturalist than I and someone who's a better photographer than I, and we share together so that we're mutually enriched.
Now this is a stork?
This is a white ibis.
White ibis.
White
So this is what you see walking behind cows.
No, those
No?
are cattle egrets.
Oh, egret. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, I'm
Little
learning all
different
kinds
bird.
of things here.
These are found in aquatic areas. There is a large population of white ibis at Alligator Lake.
Now, this is the mascot for the University of Miami, isn't it? Okay. So.
Yep.
All right. Let's go on to the next slide here. Again, you're going to find all kinds of stuff. You're not just limited to birds. There's stuff on the ground, and I think we're going to see that. This is a beautiful shot.
Butterfly watching. This is a zebra swallowtail butterfly. Butterfly watching is rapidly becoming, well, perhaps not quite as popular as bird identification and bird watching, but is growing rapidly. Watching butterflies with binoculars, photographing butterflies.
And you told me this is not a poisonous snake.
That's correct. This is a Florida banded water snake. They're very common, and frequently people are frightened and destroy them unnecessarily. The tooth-like pattern on the edge of the scales along its mouth and the round pupil make it really clear that this is a
Yeah, and
non-venomous
it's not
snake.
a triangle head, and that's another way you find out whether they're poisonous or not.
Although that one can be a little bit misleading because many of these water snakes will flatten their head to form like a triangle as a defensive measure.
And there we have the turtle.
This is a Florida cooter. We're right on the boundary between the peninsula cooter, which is found from here south, and the Florida cooter, which is found from here north. They're, depending upon which herpetologist you speak to, they may be the same species and subspecific, or they may be the same species.
And this is a frog.
This is a green tree frog, yes.
This is not the frog that you see in the water, the bullfrogs.
These you will, or the frogs you will hear early and late in the day singing from high in the trees.
Okay, that's another great shot. And again, all of these, everything you see in these photographs can be found at Lake Alligator. All you got to do is go out.
That's right. This is a bird, this is a really interesting bird. When I was a park ranger immediately after graduating from college, we stopped during my ranger academy because someone heard a limpkin calling. They were very unusual in this part of the state in the 1970s. Their populations in this area have grown. There are quite a few of them at Alligator Lake Park, and partly because of an invasive species. They feed exclusively or almost exclusively on apple snails. The native apple snail population has gone down a bit, but there is an invasive apple snail, and the limpkins are really quite happy with those.
Oh,
so their
great.
populations have grown in some areas, including here.
All right, and again, John will be at the Alligator Spring Fest on the 9th of April. you'll be there to answer questions, and you're going to lead a walk as well.
That's right. At 9 a.m. we're going to have our first for the Alligator Lake Spring Festival photo walk. We invite anyone who's interested in wildlife and nature photography to bring your camera if you have one and participate with us. We'll really look to see what birds or insects or reptiles, what scenic shots present themselves. We'll share about techniques and equipment setups and should have a really interesting learning experience. I hope that it's a mutual experience where we share together.
Jackie, this is in addition to this this additional photography walk that you're going to have bird walks that go out with. Is there something you want to tell people about? You know, a lot of the birds you can't see with just your naked eye. You've got to have some sort of binoculars or telescope. Or is there something you would suggest? Is there a place to go, or are they going to be on sale at the park?
We have loaner binoculars available, but if people have their own, we suggest you bring them because you're most familiar with them. We'll have a bird walk at 8 o'clock and then I think another one at 10. Beginning birders are welcome. That's the best way to learn. That's what we've talked about before. And we're really excited. We have two new things this year. We have John's photography walk, and we're also doing just a general nature walk. And hoping that through all these different ways of approaching nature, people really take time to stop and look and appreciate and enjoy the amazing place that Alligator Lake Park is.
Now, last year, those of you who watched this program know we had Jackie on with Nan Soitzman
Right.
and her husband, and they had 2 owls, which made quite a fuss in here during the show, which I thought was great because these folks are going to bring the owls back to the park so that you can get an up-close and personal look at Einstein, Screech, the Creech, and what was the other one?
And Merlin. And they have a new owl this year. And we decided to actually do a special program around them instead of having them stand around for the whole day, because Nan actually said the owls get kind of tired, and I can believe that. So at 1 o'clock, come on out. You'll meet the 3 owls and have a chance to really learn about them and ask lots of questions. We had them down at the library in Fort White. We had 90 people show up, so clearly that's...
I tell you, because they're so elusive,
yes.
I mean, you don't just walk up to an owl and see it up close. I know I've had a couple in my backyard from time to time, and it's really interesting just to go out and just kind of see who can blink first. No, I'm kidding. But it's interesting to see them that close. It was great to have them here. You're also going to do, there's going to be a display of reptiles. Talk about that. Are we going to have snakes and turtles and what else?
I'm not 100% sure. It depends on what they have. But our state parks, Olino and Ichtekne State Park, usually bring some gopher tortoises, some of the snakes that they have there. The animals are always a great draw. So it's going to be kind of a surprise for all of us, but we are guaranteed to have some. We're also going to have lots of kids' activities. And I really want to stress that this is a free event. So it's a perfect thing for the whole family. There's stuff for the kids, there's bird walks, there's nature walks, there's education, and we do just a lot of community engagement. The college will be there, as a matter of fact, talking about your water program and people who might be interested in attending college, what they might run into. The libraries, we're having the food eatery is going to have everything from hot dogs and hamburgers and grilled cheese to smoothies and really healthy food. So we try to bring new things in every year, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, and we've got some photographs from last year. I know that you do sale of plants. I think we're going to see, these are some kids' activities.
Some of the kids' activities, right? We also have the Fort White High School comes, and they do some amazing outreach. There's our native plant vendors.
Now, and talk about that a little bit. If you would hold on the slide, Carrie. These plants are native plants that you can plant, and you don't have to really take care of them very much. They pretty much are on their own after that.
This is kind of survival of the fittest, and the plants that grow in North Florida, out in the woods and whatever, some of them are very, very beautiful, as you can see, And people can buy these and put them in their yard, and like you say, they don't have to enhance the soil or water them a lot other than when you put them in. And they attract the critters like those butterflies and the bees and the birds that depend on them. So it really creates a whole different landscape in your yard. So we're really excited about that.
And it's all natural. I know usually you have wild azaleas. Here's some more children's activities. And was there a sponsor with this last year?
We're having Lowe's this year. Is
Okay.
going to be joining us. So we also are going to have the Department of Environmental Protection. They're bringing a really interesting activity about how you think Floridians use their water and whether you're right or not. We're also having the water management districts are coming, the Forest Service. There you go.
Hey, wow, right on cue.
Perfect.
Right on cue.
Right on cue.
And
So-
they can answer questions too. If you've got a question about maybe burning debris, you know, as we transition from spring to summer, when you should burn debris and stuff like that.
And they also, if Florida landscapes are managed by fire, and they can tell you all about that. And then here we have our bees. We had a bee display and honey for sale. In fact, John does. You do bees too, right?
I'm a beekeeper as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
If it wasn't for the bees, a lot of stuff wouldn't grow, right?
That's right. We wouldn't have our fruits and vegetables.
People don't realize that some farmers will pay people to bring bees to their fields in order to pollinate their fields.
Absolutely. It
Yep.
is the primary source of income for beekeepers, for commercial beekeepers, is pollination,
Yep.
not honey.
And here is
It's just a
our
good byproduct.
sorry, our master gardeners. So the local master gardeners, the master naturalists, Four Rivers Audubon, of course, more native plants and vegetables. So things that'll get ready, help you get ready for springtime and filling in your yard.
So they will be there to answer questions as well, because I know that a lot of my family does gardens and they never know what kind of fertilizer to use. I guess the master gardener can let you know exactly what to use for what crop.
Sure, absolutely. And then we will have food. We have our free Lovin' Foodery that I mentioned earlier, Pelican Snowballs. We're looking for a popcorn vendor. So the food should be really everything from healthy to just festival-like.
And again, this is Einstein?
This is the newest owl, and he will be there, part of Nan's entourage. So this is the large great horned owl. Actually often runs the eagle out of its nest to take over. I mean, that's how big this guy is. So.
Wow, it's a great festival that, again, usually when you go to festivals, there's some kind of charge, or you either got to charge to park, or there's something that you've got. This is all free. The food is not, but if you want to have a great Saturday, it runs from 10 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. Not an all-day thing, not a two-day event, just a one-day thing. And it sounds like a great. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people taking pictures there this year.
Certainly
with you
hope so.
being there. What is the message now that you hope to convey to people who come? I know you're probably preaching to the choir to a lot of folks that come. But for someone that isn't an environmentalist or a naturalist, what would be your message to them about coming to this?
Actually, the amazing thing is we're not totally preaching to the choir. Because it's a free festival and because it's a park that a lot of people are familiar with, it's a true community event. We have all ages, all incomes, all backgrounds, and the fact that it's free and it's a beautiful spot, and it's a peaceful day, it's a great place to come and celebrate nature.
Yeah, I know that there are probably a lot of people that aren't aware that there's a park called Alligator Lake Park and probably don't know how to get to it. How do you get to Alligator Lake Park?
It's off of Country Club Road, so you can come from the south or the north. From Lake City, you want to head out Duval and head south on Country Club Road, and it's about 1.5 miles there. You can also look on the website under Alligator Lake Park and Recreation Area, and we have a map on our website, which is fourriversaudubon.org.
I know a lot of people know where Alligator Lake is, but they don't know the entrance that we're talking about. Because
Right.
most people, when you're driving down 441,
Right.
you're driving by the high school and the radio station, and you see the lake on the left. This is on the other side of the lake, which is Old Country Club Road, which
Right.
is where the old country club was at one time. You'd like more information about this festival, which is taking place this Saturday, You can see it by going on to fourriversaudubon.org. Telephone number if you would like more information. If maybe you have a question about someone that's going to be there, it's 466-2193. It's Alligator Lake Spring Festival, the 7th annual here. We hope it'll be, in 10 years, it'll be the 17th annual festival, and we wish you the best of luck with it. John, thank you so much for sharing your pictures with us, and hopefully people will come by and ask you questions, and you can get the next generation of outdoor and photographers going.
Thank you.
I thank you for watching Perspective here on Florida Gateway College Television. Until next time, I'm Mike McKee. Please attend the festival. We'll see you next time.